the anticipation like right now for an opening?
I mean, we're very excited to get things going, to really get stuff back on the right track because, as everybody knows, last year wasn't the season that we expected at all. So just really getting our names back up there and really getting that U Pride back is going to be big, and that starts on Monday.
You're a senior, right? This is the last run for you. Does this feel like the final time that you'll go through preseason, the final time that you're getting excited for an opener? Do you have any feelings like that?
Well, of course, but I'm just, enjoying every moment. So just really going day by day.
What's it been like with this group going through preseason? Obviously, it's a lot of new faces. You guys are trying to fit the pieces together. What's the preseason been like?
It's been good because for us it really started in the summertime when everybody came. We've been playing a lot together, so it's really like we've been playing together for years. It really felt like that.
Coach made a good point. This coaching staff at LIU, they don't come in until June, right? There's no film. It's Rod Strickland has not coached at the collegiate level. How do you prep for that? Just not having film, not really knowing what their sets look like. It's kind of a big mystery. How do you prep for that?
Well, the one thing we do know is who's on that team, and it's easy to find film on anybody like personnel-wise. So we're just gonna look at that and try to get a gist of what they'll do with the talent that they have.
Going through the preseason, getting ready for an opener, what is the anticipation like getting ready for an opener finally?
Man, you're right. The anticipation of that first game, and we told our guys we have 3 practices left before the first game, so we still have 10% of our practices.
Right.
But it is a hard thing to describe. It's hard to quantify the lead up to the start of the season, the excitement in the air, and you see the weather changing and everything. But I think it's a culmination of a lot of preparation. I always just try to think for these guys, people forget we have 8 weeks in the summertime with these guys, and they're lifting and conditioning and all that stuff that people kind of forget about.
It wasn't always like that. You didn't always
correct. That's like I think in the last 3-4 years where we've been able to. Well, it's been longer than that where we have them, but not where we've been able to practice.
Right.
And we only get 8 hours with them, so it's not a lot.
Right.
But the conditioning, the lifting, the early mornings, and doing this all year, and now it becomes, and then the 6 weeks of practice. The 6 weeks of practice, I would say for us, this has gone incredibly quick for the coaching staff.
Right.
There's a lot of newness in the air here this year, a lot of different excitement, I think. We got to be demanding but yet patient because they're all learning each other, and then they're all learning our style, and we're doing some new things. So that's what I think is exciting every day, is like, okay, what do we got today? And every day we get done with practice, like, oh man, this guy was good today. Like BC's been good at like every practice. You know what I mean? Like, but it's like every day there's kind of a different guy that looks different. And so, but you always have that anticipation, the hard work, the everything that's gone into it to this point. And then it's I love football, as you know, but in my opinion, it's the greatest sport in the world, and NCAA especially, because every game matters. We don't play 82 games.
Right.
I love the NBA, I love the game, but we got 31 games, and every game truly does matter. And it has direct implications on getting an NCAA tournament bid or not. Bad losses can really set you back. Great wins can really propel you forward, right? And so there's so much that goes into this, and it's just like, hey man, we only get a guaranteed 32 opportunities if you don't get hurt.
Right.
And so with all this desire and the practice and the workouts, man, for it to all come together, and then you have the pageantry, right, of college athletics, where hopefully we can get this place going and people in here and have that home court advantage. So that's the really short answer to the question, Josh. But that, I don't know how to describe it. It's hard to describe, but you feel it. Right? At the end of the day, you feel it.
You made a good point to your guys on the way out. This LIU staff comes in June. Rod Strickland is a guy who was coming from the G League, has never been on he's been on a coaching staff technically, but but never on a bench. There's no film. You probably don't have a super firm idea of what they might run. How do you prep for something like that?
I've been doing this year 12 as a head coach, 27 years. I don't ever recall being in this situation. I'm sure it's happened before for other people, but very rarely.
Yeah.
Very rarely do you have a guy that either hasn't been a head coach or didn't come directly from the college ranks to the right. And so it's very difficult. We have to do the best that we can with personnel. we got to really be locked into their personnel. It's a personnel game. We obviously have personnel from guys that are returning, have new guys, whether they transfer D1 to their school or JUCO to their school, or we have high school film as well.
Right.
So we got to be locked in. Now, guys' games can change. I know some of our guys' games have clearly changed or been upgraded.
Yeah.
So, and then you got to adjust. You got to be able to adapt and adjust, and hopefully that's where our training and what we've been able to do in these 6 weeks will be prepared for everything. You know, I'm sure they're happy because like, oh man, way less film we got to watch on these guys coming up. But it does give you you feel a little bit, quote unquote, naked, because normally you see their stuff, and teams will always add new things, but got to kind of just go on the fly. So it's a way different prep, but we got to be so locked into personnel, and then we got to be able to adjust on the fly.
When you say adjust on the fly, I mean, do you envision this being something, okay, let's go up and down a few times, we hit the first media timeout, okay, now we know what we're looking at, and try to adjust that way?
Yeah, I mean, okay, hey, they just ran this play where they have a single wide pin down, or, man, they seem to be setting a lot of step-ups, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, now they're running some double staggers. So I know they had a closed scrimmage, but we, or their secret scrimmage, scrimmage. He corrected me after the game the other day.
I'm just trying to help.
I know, and I do appreciate it. I used secret scrimmage to our team actually today in film. But in most of those contracts, just like ours, they're not supposed to exchange verbal reports, not supposed to exchange videotape. And to Stony Brook's credit, they've been tight-lipped. So that's how it goes. And so, but it is what it is. And so you're correct, John. It's always going to be verbal communication with our assistants, myself. Hey, this is how we got to guard this. But if we guard our personnel the right way, then that should help take care of a lot of that stuff. And we just got to be able to do what we do. But it is hard because we don't know exactly what they're going to do with their screen roll defense or their post defense, or how can we attack them the best that we can, right? And so you just got to see what it goes and make the appropriate adjustments.
You told us Wednesday night that you expected Marco and Luca to practice today.
Yeah.
Marco was out there. I saw Luca off to the side when I walked in. Are you able to say kind of what the status is?
Well, Marco looked good today. I just talked to him briefly afterwards. He said he felt good, so that's exciting. And we would anticipate him being able to go. Luca, we just got to see day by day. He gave it a whirl, and it didn't go so well. So hopefully he'll give it a whirl tomorrow. But we'll go, and it's a lower leg injury.
Yeah. Gavin hadn't played in a very long time.
Yeah.
Got out there, had the little 8-foot hook in the lane, hits the 3. You said he was on a minutes restriction.
Yep.
Do you envision that minutes restriction as a thing, kind of moving forward?
Yeah, I think it will be. Going into that game, Trevor and I, our athletic trainer, talked on Sunday, and just say, hey, what are we thinking for Wednesday? And we just both kind of, instead of let's see how practice on Monday and Tuesday went, and he did some really good things. So we said, hey, let's throw him out there, do this, it was 6 minutes or whatever. And so I would anticipate, I thought he looked great today. He had a good practice today. Didn't do much late, but I thought he had a very good practice. We had a really good practice today. So I would anticipate there'll be some sort of restriction, and just, we're going to be diligent with this thing and bring him back slowly and just get him back up to 100%. I think he's feeling good, but just get him back in conditioning and he hasn't done a lot for 10 months or whatever. But the beauty of this is he is a veteran.
Yes. He's
been through these kind of things before, and we're just going to have open dialogue with one another. How do you feel? And Trevor's been so good that way, and Coach O, our strength coach. And we got 2 more practices. We'll see how things progress, and then go from there. But I mean, he's looked good, and there's no reason to believe he won't be playing on Wednesday or on Monday. What day is it today? I feel like it's like a
Friday,
Tuesday or a Monday.
Really
to be honest, it feels like a Monday because we usually play Saturday games off Sunday. Right. So we were off yesterday, and now it kind of feels like a Monday. It's weird,
like Friday.
But it is, yeah.
So that leads me into my last thing. I'm just curious, with a 9 o'clock tip, how difficult or how different do the logistics of a game day get, just in terms of, okay, we're shooting, team meal, let's get them off their feet. Just how does that change with such a late tip?
Yeah, late tips. You're always at the
mercy of TV.
The mercy of TV, and it is different because your body, whatever you want to call it, just feels different, right? But we try to do it where it all kind of lines up the same. I know some guys on game day like to get in early, get shots up, kind of do their own thing. Mm-hmm. And then we always structure it basically going back where, okay, we're going to have a pregame meal at this time. Right. And so to be consistent with that, then we go back and do, okay, film at this time, walk through or shoot around, et cetera, and then go right into pregame meal. So we try to keep them, almost trick their bodies into this is where it is.
Right. Okay.
And so it does change it a little bit, but we just back it up compared to, comparatively to keep it all consistent.